What do you want your legacy to be? Hi, I'm Kemp, three-time world champion and Olympic coach. Legacy. What is legacy? What does it actually mean? In my way of thinking, your legacy is what you continually produce. Ultimately, it's not about you. It's not about you at all. It's about what you can produce, is what people are going to remember. So your legacy is about what you continually produce. And so it's consistent, it's ongoing. You can't really create a legacy by just doing something great one time. A legacy is what you continually produce over a long period of time. That's your legacy. No one really cares about circumstances. No one really wants to hear excuses or justifications. All they want to see is performance, ultimately. I'm not saying that one can't be compassionate about circumstances, about things that happen, negative things that happen. But we all are in that same boat. We have to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and get back at it. Because if we don't do that, then the end result is sure. There'll be no production. There'll be no accomplishments. There'll be no achievement. One of the biggest disappointments I've ever had in my life was the Olympic boycott of 1980. If anybody was going to be an Olympic champion, if anybody in the whole world was going to be an Olympic champion, it was going to be me. I knew that I could be an Olympic champion. Starting from the earliest memories that I had of being a wrestler, I wanted to be an Olympic champion. I remember watching Dan Gable win his Olympic gold medal in 1972, and I said right then and there, that's going to be me. I want to be an Olympic champion. You fast forward from that point in time, from 1972, that was my sophomore year in high school, to 1980. At that time, I was a two-time world champion. Prior to that, in 78 and 79, the Olympic year was mine. I knew that I was going to have that Olympic gold medal around my neck, I'm telling you. And guess what happened? I think you all know what happened. Our country, our president, Jimmy Carter, decided that our athletes would pay that sacrifice and not go to the Olympic Games. It was 100% his decision and his cabinet. There was no consulting us, the athletes, because if you'd have consulted us, we would have probably unanimously we would not have made that sacrifice. But he made that sacrifice for all of us, and it was devastating. Not just for me, but for all the Olympic athletes in our country. And our president convinced about 40 or 50 other nations not to go to the Olympic Games. And it screwed up another Olympics. The 1984 Olympic Games, Russia and their allied nations boycotted. So, circumstance. That was an incredibly horrible circumstance. But I couldn't let that define me. And it was tough. I mean, I was so disappointed. I was so hurt. I left wrestling for probably 14 years. But one thing that I learned in life is that everybody goes through hardships and disappointments and struggles. You know, when I was ready to complain a little bit about my Olympic boycott, other people started to tell me about some of their trials and tribulations. Some of them could be physical. Some of them could be, business downturns. When I started listening to all the different things that have happened to other people, I realized that my little Olympic boycott was not that big a deal, really. There are a lot of other greater things that were happening out in the world to people. So I decided that I had to pick myself back up and dust myself off and start putting myself back on the track of achievement again. One of the things that I noticed, though, is that this satisfaction that I gained from wrestling and coaching was something that I really wanted to get back in my life. So I put that back in my life. I got back into wrestling. And surprisingly enough, in 2008, I became the Olympic coach. So I got to walk in the Olympic ceremony as one of the Olympic coaches more than 28 years after the Olympic boycott.